It's time to hit the jackpot because you're listening to How to Bet, hosted by Daryl Sean and Sean Miller, breaking down betting into 4 categories to help you stay ahead of the game, sharing their thoughts, opinions, and analysis on how to bet it, where to bet it, and who to bet on. Now here are your hosts, Daryl Sean and Sean Miller.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to How to Bet, our HowToBet.com podcast. I'm Daryl Sean, along with Sean, the genius Miller, Neri Rodriguez. We broke down Villanova and Kansas in our last segment. Now it is time to break down UNC Duke, the moment that the genius has been waiting for. Remember to go to HowToBet.com, hit the links to the to various different sports books. We have promotions from a lot of sports books around the country. You can take a look. If you scroll down, you see the screen now, you see the odds. But if you scroll down a little further, you will see just various different sports books. Neri, if you could just scroll down a little further for us here, you're going to say thank you. Neri on the spot, as always. You can see various different sports books around the country giving you different odds. So shop around, and that's why you should go to howtobet.com. Go there early and go there often. Also, you watching us on YouTube, please hit that like button, notification bell, and above all, subscribe to HowToBet.com podcast. We enjoy having you. We appreciate having you. I know there's a trillion different options, so we do enjoy having you with us and you that follow us through football to this college basketball shows, these college basketball shows. Again, we appreciate it. You know, you're making money with us. Transparency is big. I am on the plus side, not as much as I'd like to be with the college basketball, but I am on the plus side. I know we spoiled you for football. I mean, we killed it for football. There could not have been a show that gave you more winners than us. We set the ladder so high. I'm a little nervous for next year, but we did set it high. We were unbelievable for football. And listen, we had a formula. We'll stick to it. And we'll do it again. And our formula did include, metrics. These it included history, included numbers, and included the eye test. The eye test, people.
The eye test and the genius test.
There you go.
I use my brain, man. I don't use numbers. I just,
I'm not as smart as a genius. I use the eye test. I use those eye chart. That's what I use. And listen, don't argue with us because we were. Again, you couldn't have done better than we did for football. So we look forward to having you again next football season. We have USFL coming up. We got a lot of stuff coming up. So don't leave us.
Yep. And just look, I mean, for me, we're about to talk about North Carolina. Just from backing North Carolina so far in this tournament, they were underdog in 2 of the games. I mean, they were a 3-point favorite in the first round against Marquette. They beat them by 32, the biggest blowout in the history of the 8-9 game. They've been underdog in these games. Back in North Carolina in these games, I'm a mass just from backing them. Like we talk about this on the NFL show and the college. You can't bet every game. You got to find games that you like. And I was. I always think this, but, I legitimately thought this North Carolina team had a chance to win the bracket, win the East and win the tournament. And I just thought they were really, just watching them play, I just thought they were really criminally, underrated. Nobody had them coming out. And, it's just something because I watch all the games. But when you're watching stuff, it's the same thing, with the soccer, football, whatever. We watch the games. So we're not using these numbers to the DVOA is 7.6, blah, 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 blah. No, we watch the games and we see these teams and we're like, listen, I watch, I see, I think this is going to happen. That's what we do. Daryl watches a ton of college basketball and other sports. And, I watch soccer and college basketball and football and stuff. And we see that stuff. That's why we're so good at it.
Yeah, and your UNC team, they took apart Marquette. That was a joke. That was from start to finish. Then they take care of Baylor. They were up 25. A lot of people were hanging there. They were up 25, and then they blew the lead. So what? They were up 25. They blew the lead, and they came back and won the game. Sometimes you have to give. Sometimes you have to give teams more credit for being able to not collapsing, hold it together and win the game. They did a great job against Baylor. They beat up another soft Pac-12 team in UCLA, 73-66. So they've done what they had to do, and then they ruined everybody's dream. They turned Cinderella into the pumpkin. Is that what happens in the end? The pumpkin.
Look, that's what. And I mean, first of all, that game. I said this at the time. I mean, that game just shows how bad of a coach Matt Painter is because he got 7 touches for that guy in the thing. I mean, the game. Baycott had 20 points and 22 rebounds. That's what Purdue should have done to him. And they're sitting home, and North Carolina's in the Final Four. Yeah. And that game was over after a minute. It was 9-0. The game was over. Like I was thinking about hedging, and I'm like, I'm watching it, and I'm just like, I'm not hedging. The game's over. Game's over.
Now, that being said, that's your UNC guys. Duke, who you have hate at birth. If you love UNC as much as you do, you hate Duke that much. They had a tougher trip than UNC to New Orleans. They played 2 really good defensive teams in Arkansas and Texas Tech, and they beat them both. They were tough teams. There's no question about that. So they did what they had to do. They were closer games, but they were tougher teams. So I give credit to Duke. It's a really good team. They took care of Michigan State first. So their road was a little tougher, in my opinion. But it is a young Duke team, but a highly talented Duke team. And there's one thing else that's going on that everybody knows about at this point. This is it for Coach K. And this team is going to fight for him and try to get him going out as a winner. As a champion. He'll go out as a winner, of course, but as a champion.
Yeah, look, and you got somebody on the other side just trying to ruin it like they ruined this senior night. And it's it's interesting because I think like Duke probably would have wanted to play anybody else in this game but North Carolina. Like I know they know them and they beat them by 20 in the first game and North Carolina, threw up 95 points in the second game against them in the last game at Cameron. But like, if they were playing Kentucky or Purdue or anybody, it would have like, this is like, they don't want to play North. I mean,
so Coach K when asked
Duke, but like, I'm just going to embrace the fact that we're going to end this guy's career. I'm going to just ruin his night again. I mean,
when Coach K was asked whether this meant any more because it is UNC in the Final Four, he said it doesn't matter at all.
It's
to the kids doesn't matter if they're playing Kansas in the Final Four. You're playing Kansas. It's a Final Four game. It couldn't be any more. Couldn't be any more on the line. Doesn't matter who you're playing. But I think deep down, it's a little different when you're playing UNC and you're Coach K at Duke. I believe that.
The other thing too is if you're playing like Purdue or Kentucky or somebody, whoever, UCLA or whatever, like, I mean, you already know, like, if I'm North Carolina, everybody thinks Duke's gonna win. Like, if I'm North Carolina, I'm like, wait a second, we already blew them out. Like, we took them apart at Cameron. We scored 94, 95 points. Like, if I'm North Carolina now, I'm like, hey, I know we could beat them. Like, we already did. We already beat them. Like, that's the thing. I mean, some of these games, when you're playing, they talk about like playing a team 3 times or whatever, like. When you're a team, even if you come in with, underdog or whatever, but you already know you beat them and the other team already knows, hey, listen, they beat us. Like it's got to be somewhere in your mind. And listen, this is going to be, they know it's going to be a tough game. Obviously it's Final Four. They know it's going to be a tough game anyway, but I just think, it's harder to play a team like that. You already know, and you already know beat you. So.
All right, so you continue to make that case for UNC. So what? Duke -4. I'm total 151. This is the 8:49 game. It's supposed to tip off at 8:49 Saturday night for a trip to the finals against the winner of Villanova, Kansas. Look, UNC, they've been playing great. I mean, they're scoring the ball. They've been playing terrific basketball. Again, Duke -4. I kind of expected it to be right around here. The 151, very high total. It's tough to go against UNC here, Genius, and I know that you won't. But I tell you, that 4 is tough. It's a game I don't love because I'll probably bet it live when I see what's going on. It might be too many points. It's going to be a close game. I think this could be one for the ages. Really could be.
When you look at North Carolina, I think you have to break the season down into like halves. because like halfway through the season on January 22nd, they were 12-6. They got beat by Miami. They got blown out by Miami, which actually isn't, looking back, not that bad. I mean, the way they lost is terrible. And then they got beat by Wake Forest back-to-back nights on the road, right? They're 12-6. Since then, they're 16-3. They're 28-9 coming into this game. Their only loss in that time were to Duke. They lost to Pitt. It was whatever, tough game. And then they lost to Virginia Tech in the thing. But it was a new season, new coach, Hubert Davis, taking time, Brady Manick transferring in, got to take time. This team is a completely different team from the one that played, that first 2 months.
I think it's a valid point.
The last month, I mean, if they would have started this, obviously this doesn't happen, but like if they started the seeding from halfway through the season, North Carolina's not an 8 seed. So, that's the thing to look at. That's the thing I kept looking at all the time. I know North Carolina has already beaten them. North Carolina puts up a lot of points. I think the team total in these games is a little bit low. I mean, North Carolina's the team total here is 73.5. I mean, I don't get it. This is not going to be a 67-65 game. This game is going to be in the 80s or the high 80s. It's just going to be, they're going to go back and forth.
Yeah, you wouldn't think. The game won at North Carolina. Duke won 87-67. And at Duke, that regular season finale, UNC winning 94-81. So, yeah, I mean, they have played high scoring games. So the 151 could dwarf that. But obviously teams at this point, they like to concentrate on defense. They like to think they can play defense when it comes down to this. Interestingly enough, this is the first time these two teams will ever meet in an NCAA tournament.
Always come close. They've come close to playing in a title game in 91, 93. I mean, they've always been close to playing, but they never played.
So on record, Genius likes UNC plus the 4. I am on record as saying I am not touching this game until I go live. I will go live and play it then if I like the flow of the game.
I'll go even further on you. I'll take North Carolina minus 1.5 at plus 1.
Well, you'll take them on the money line, correct?
Yeah, but I might even take them at like minus 4.5 at plus 300.
Wow, well, that's good. So anyway, to get those, to look for those, go to HowToBet.com. Go to HowToBet.com. Go to the site. Click on the link where you're going to find different promotions, but you're also going to find point spreads from various sports books around the country. If you shop, you can get the number you're looking for sure. So go there early and often. There's a sampling of it right there. In bold, you'll see your best bets or your best totals, different states, different promotions. As you can see, Neri running it for us there. So go to HowToBet.com. Open those links, and that's where you're going to find different promotions and, of course, different lines throughout the country from different sports books. You watching us on YouTube, please hit that like button, notification bell, and above all, subscribe to our How to Bet podcast. When we come back, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to give you even the genius is going to give you a reason why Duke can win the game. We're going to give you reasons why all 4 can win this national championship. Back after this, How to Bet. Go to HowToBet.com.
Let's go.